I'm Zipporah Camille Thompson, a weaver and sculptor, originally from Charlotte, North Carolina. When I hear the word chaos, a lot comes to mind. Considering personal experiences, universal experiences, experiences of the landscape, experiences of the body, experiences that are happening all around us every day. Where I really think about chaos is when I consider the environment, and I think about natural disasters and catastrophe in the context of chaos, as well as I'm thinking a lot about tension as well, and thinking about these experiences and these circumstances that are occurring, maybe not having complete control over what those things are that are happening, whether it's a loss or whether it's something that's decaying, whether it's something that's coming into existence or out of existence, whether it is something that's very tumultuous or something that is more peaceful but still changing and evolving and morphing. Think a lot about history and memory and experiences that maybe not I personally have experienced that have to do with a lot of chaos, but also those of my ancestors or people that have preceded me, thinking a lot about these experiences that maybe they endured or that they lived through. And those experiences, thinking about kind of like this strength and this tenacity and this kind of like overcoming these burdens or these circumstances, and there's definitely a strength and a vitality in like what comes out of the chaos there, right? And kind of like life past this trauma or this event, or so I think chaos can mean a lot of different things, and I'm not just focused on the chaos itself, but also kind of what comes out of that and what happens after that, and those shifts and changes and growth really that happens out of that, and the hope that's there in the midst of the chaos. How can chaos be seen in the work? I think it's everything from the subtle shifts in color or texture, or transitions between areas that have a lot of tension to more fluid areas, to more rugged areas, to areas that are very ambiguous, whether that's in form, like I mentioned, color and texture, materials, combining materials that don't always go together right away visually, but thinking of ways to bring those together and to fuse those to kind of echo the sense of chaos and these things coming together and coming into existence. In considering the works and in considering identity and in considering the landscape, I think all of these things are coming together through the ritual of making itself, whether that is on the loom, whether that's not on the loom, but it's like this repetitive gesture. And as I'm making these repetitive gestures or movements in the studio, I'm considering these different ideas. And in that way, I'm investigating the meanings behind self and identity, otherness, or maybe none of those things, and maybe considering dream worlds and other worlds and realms that don't fully exist, or places in my mind that are very ambiguous. So I really like these like repetitive actions of things, and in that I feel like I'm grappling with all those ideas as I'm working. My mind is constantly moving through those spaces to help understand and navigate what all those things mean to me. And so in that way I feel like I'm investigating, as well as like considering the cosmic. I think it's such a universal, the sun, the moon, the stars, everyone has a relationship to all of those things. So I feel like it's great because it kind of opens up your worldview and kind of makes you think beyond just self and thinking of others and the bigger picture. But through examining the larger picture and through examining the universal and the cosmic, I feel like that can't help but bring you back to origins of self and origins of identity and otherness, and finding yourself, I think, in that way then. So with the piece Umbra Penumbra, it was part of a series about the dark of the moon, and so the darker phases of the moon, the time in which you kind of go in and you are shedding and you are kind of getting red and you're making way for the next phase of the moon, the new moon. And so I love this idea of, and if in that piece there's a lot of dark and light, and I loved kind of like investigating that and thinking about not only the darkness but the lightness that follows of the moon and of that piece. And there's that transition. There's also a lot of tension and using the rope, very industrious kind of material, but also incorporating the wool and the softer materials as well as some metallics as a way to kind of, in my mind, the metallics a lot are investigating that idea of the cosmic, thinking of stars that are twinkling or thinking about light with the metallics. And so Umbra Penumbra kind of brings all those things together, investigating the time of the moon, the darker phases of the moon, as well as thinking about chaos and thinking about that tension and thinking about all those things coming together as one. Looming Chaos opens January 25th at the Zuckerman Museum of Art.